So in today's video, I'm going to share with you quite possibly one of the cleanest break and retest trades I've ever taken on the overall market. This morning, we had a downside move on the market due to CPI, a break under a key support level on the NASDAQ at around 17,800. This was a major flush, a major move to the downside under that previous support. As you guys know, if you watch any of my videos, if we break below a previous support, the market will always come back up, retest that level, and when the market comes back up to retest that level, we are looking to see if the reactions show us a rejection or if the market does reclaim that level. If we spot those rejections, this is the break and retest rejection that we talk about on this channel every single day. You see examples of the break and retest every day on this channel. I hope that some of you out there are taking these videos seriously. I hope that you're reading into them, understanding the strategy, understanding what to look for, and implementing it into your own trading. Today, I made over $10,000 shorting the market off of a very key break and retest level, and I want to walk through exactly how I did it. Now, before I walk through the trade, go ahead and listen to what we talked about this morning on the morning live stream. While we were dropping to the downside live on the live stream right as CPI came out, go ahead and take a quick listen to the analysis and recommendations that I was providing on the live stream. I think we're going to probably see 492 on SPY, QQQ, I would say QQQ 425, NASDAQ, yeah, NASDAQ right here, NASDAQ 17,560, right? I think that's where you're coming. You're coming down to that 20. 17,560, that would be my target to downside. QQQ target would be right here at 425. SPY target would be right here at 492. ES target would be right here at 49.50. Those would be my downside targets. But you really want to bounce here, man. You really want to bounce, right? If you want to short today, you do not want this thing to just go straight down. You really want to bounce here, right? You want to bounce. You want to bounce back into the highs, the previous highs, and you want to see a nasty rejection right here. That's really what you want, but we'll have to see if we get it. What you really want to see, right? Because as of right now, guys, the unfortunate truth is that the risk reward is sort of gone on the downside now, because you have to be careful of this 20 SMA causing reaction to the upside, okay? As much as this sexy downside is looking good, right? You got to be a little bit careful of that 20 holding at that 17,560 today, right? You got to be a little bit careful of this 425 holding on the QQQ. There's a little bit of concern there, right? So I would want a bounce before the short today. So you guys just watched how we analyzed this, how we sort of interpreted that drop, and what we recommended to the group as we were dropping to the downside, what to look for the downside today for the continuation move to the downside. We talked about not shorting as soon as the market dropped, not shorting into that big drop, waiting for the market to bounce, have some relief off that 20 SMA, which was right here, the 20 SMA on the daily chart, see some relief off that level, look to see if the market could trade back up into the 17.8 level, and then look for that rejection play. Why did I look for this? Why was this the game plan? This all comes down to understanding key supply and demand levels, understanding technicals, and with this type of education and understanding, you can create structured trade ideas. However, I will get into a little bit deeper about how you had to manage this position and how the mindset of this type of trade is 100% necessary. You cannot enter a trade with this thought process and be exiting and entering and feeling uncomfortable about what you're trading. If you're going to enter a break and retest trade off a key level, it is the key level or it is nothing. And so I'm going to break this sort of mentality and mindset down a little bit further, but let me first go ahead and talk to you about the technicals and why this was all happening. So we saw a downside move on CPI, right? We knew that, okay? Big downside pre-market. Oh my God, market's tanking. What are we looking for? Are we looking to chase the shit out of it? No, right? We're not chasing downside. We're not chasing upside. What are we looking for? Where can the market bounce to and reject, right? If we're moving lower, where can the market bounce to and where can it reject? If the market's moving higher, where can it reject, right? If it's moving higher, where can it reject and then find support? If the market's moving lower, where can it bounce to and then reject, right? That is the break and retest in all its glory, right? We're not chasing moves. There's no such thing as chasing in the break and retest. So you have right here a previous rejection point on the NASDAQ futures right there, right? 17.8, very clear. You had a nice rejection around here as well. Let me go ahead and get that right around, let's call it that 17,770. Right here, 17.8. Right here, 17.8. Right here, right after this becoming a previous double top, or a previous really quadruple top at 17.8, that level then turned into a support. We turned into a support right here at 17.8, and we turned into a support right here at 17.8. This is both Wednesday and Thursday of last week. So, right, we look at this chart and we say, okay, I know 17.8 is a big level. I've seen multiple reactions at this level. I've seen the market go from rejecting this level to turning this level into support. All right, so I know that there is a very important area on the market right around this 17,800 on the NASDAQ futures, right? I know that's going to be crucial. So if we go ahead and zoom in on this market, right, we can see this morning on CPI, we had a very nasty downside drop right through that support, right? We had support here. We were coming into that this morning, and we had a nasty drop under that level. So what are we looking for, right? We're not going to go ahead and start chasing puts down here because that risk reward just makes no sense, really, right? We're not going to chase puts down there. Why are we not, right? Why are we not going to chase puts in the morning into that level? Well, if we analyze our charts, right, take a look, right? We can see right here, previous support, previous support, previous support, previous support, right? And look at where the market dropped into. It dropped pretty damn close to that demand. And also on top of that, the 20 SMA that was moving to the upside, right? So early morning, we got that aggressive drop right into demand, right? A little bit of a bear trap to start the day, right? Because anyone that opened shorts at the open of the day was instantly red on that position, right? Why did that happen? Because you dropped into demand, right? You dropped into that support. You dropped into that 20 SMA. And early morning today, you got that market to hold that level. So if we go into the 5-minute chart, we can go ahead and look at today's price action. So early morning, you get your big drop on CPI. You get a very aggressive beginning wick right here off that 20 SMA and right off that demand. As you guys heard from our pre-market live stream, we talked about we need a bounce. If we're going to short today, we need a bounce. We are not going to short into a hole, into a CPI downside. We're not going to just start shorting at demand. We need a bounce to create risk reward, right? This bounce creates risk reward. It creates a margin, right? We now have margin on our play. If we're going to play to the short side, we can now look for this to fade back down to where it came from. We have a risk reward that has developed, and we have margin on our trade. So we can see, right, today morning we grinded higher and had a big explosive push to the upside, pretty much filling some of this downside gap, coming off that demand, and moving right into, you guessed it, right, the 17.8 rejection point. Now, this is where it gets juicy, this is where it gets exciting, and this is where we have to talk a lot about what the mindset is when you start to look for that rejection up at 17.8. So guys, before we dive deep into the QQQ trade, just wanted to let you know we did pass that 100,000 mark on the account. It's pretty incredible. It's more than I made all last year in 2 months, which is crazy to see. It's crazy to experience, but it's a really good testament that if you are confident, if you are understanding of what you're doing in trading, that it is scalable. There is no limit to how much money you can make in trading if you get comfortable, if you put in the work, if you form a strategy, and you continue to sort of work at it over time and start to scale it up. There is an unlimited scalability to trading. And this year, I've really taken that seriously. I wanted to push myself, and it's working. It's working now, right? This number could fluctuate, right? Very large, right? I could have a $10,000 losing day here soon. So it's good, right? It's good. I'm happy about it, but, right, it's still a number that can be affected by slacking off, not being focused. So it's going to take me to be, really locked in here to continue to see this performance. But so far, right, let's just continue to run with it, and let's continue to educate, and let's continue to teach ourselves the right things to be doing. So here is today. It's a $12,000 day. It's another 5-figure day, which is pretty awesome. Actually, the first one of this month. If we go into it, There's two trades I want to focus on here, guys. Number one is this QQQ put. It's about a 36 at the peak of the contracts I had. They were up about 100%, but net, it was about a 36% profit. And then this QQQ put here as well, guys. And the other thing that I want to show you guys and be fully transparent about is at the peak of my day, I was down about $5,000, right? I was down $5,000, okay? Make sure you understand that, right? Because to get to this type of number, all right, you got to be honest with yourself, guys. And this is why I like to share, because, yeah, I made $12,000 today, but you have to be in a different type of mindset and ball game to get to these numbers. So be realistic with yourself, right? I had to sit through anywhere from $5,000 to about $6,000 of red on my account. And I had to stay confident. I had to stay emotionless. I had to stay understanding of the game plan while sitting through that drawdown. Make sure that you can say the same if you want to trade at these levels of trading, right? Maybe you cut this in a tenth, right? Maybe you want to make $1,200. So maybe you got to sit through about $500 worth of drawdown. Or let's say you want to make $100. You're going to have to sit through, let's say, $50 a drawdown, right? This is what trading requires. But when we sit through that drawdown, we cannot lose our minds, okay? This is what affects most traders. They sit through some drawdown. They're losing their mind. They're scared. They're worried. They're not sure what to do. This is the type of thing that a real trading system requires, okay? There's no such thing as trading and being right instantaneously at all times, all right? Think about how silly that thing or that sounds for me to even say that, right? How do you expect to trade in the stock market and be right instantaneously at all times and not sit through drawdown, right? It's not possible, okay? So let's just put that, let's wipe that away once and for all. You are going to be in red positions for things to work out that could potentially set up and be large profits. So you got to get used to it. This is how trading is. Let's dive into the QQQ put. It's pretty much just a starter position that I added into for that exact same thing we just talked about, guys, right? So I had about 155 contracts, about $8,000 profit, about $21,000 in the position, right? Pretty much in line with, a $100,000 account, about a 20% position size. An aggressive one, but very confident here, right? So pretty much in line with what you guys usually see. It was about $8,000 profit, 36%. Really nice. Executions, you guys can see here, right? My first ad was 153, then 127, then 96 cents, out at 154, out at $2, out at 275. So from my first exit, or my last exit to my last exit, let me restart. From my last entry to my last exit, it's about a 100 and something percent profit, right? So overall, a really nice move in the contracts, but overall, like net, as I scale out of my positions, it's a 36% profit. So you can see right here, this is where I was adding, and scaling out, right? Pretty clean, right? Pretty clean. Add, scale. Why was I adding as the market moved higher, right? And once again, I felt the same type of emotion from people in the community, which I don't speak bad about anyone in the community, guys, but this is something that you need to realize if you want to be a successful trader, okay? I would say 90% of the people, I can't say a certain number, but I would say a large percent of the people that were watching me trade this position live in the Discord community, entering puts as the market moved higher, they did not grasp the idea of what I was doing, right? Why is he doing this? What is he doing taking puts as the market moves higher? Why the hell is he sitting through drawdown? Why does he think the market's going to move down, right? This makes no sense. Why, that's the human emotion. That's the human psychology, emotion of not trusting levels, not trusting a strategy, not trusting these supply levels. We need to get to this type of level of strategy and understanding of a strategy to see these things and to let these trades work out, right? Because I know for a fact, right, there was a lot of people questioning what the hell I was doing today, buying puts into these levels, right? And so why was I doing this? Why was I buying puts as the market moves higher? This goes back to that game plan we talked about earlier. 17.8 being a level that we previously held right here at 17.8 a level that was a previous support, right here, previous support, which was again a previous rejection point on the market. We broke under that major level today, right? We flushed under that on CPI. Our game plan from the pre-market live stream was for us to trade higher into that level and look to see if rejections would step in for that bounce and fade rejection. Exactly what we looked for and exactly how it played out. And now, what I quickly want to go over, the last segment of today's video, is the mindset and the emotion and what it requires to stay in this trade, right? So as you guys saw, I was entering puts on this ride higher, right? And my ultimate stop loss was 17,800 on the NASDAQ futures. I was actually planning to give it up to this previous pre-market low, right around 17,806. I was going to give it that low right there. And as long as we stayed under that low, I was going to stay in this position. Now, I was in a little bit early, and I was sitting through some drawdown as the market moved higher. However, this does not mean anything, right? If you enter a put here with the mindset of 17.8 rejecting, right, this upside is meaningless, okay? The only reason why you're scared of that upside is because you just entered a put and you're losing money, okay? But if you actually understand what your concept here, and if you trust the strategy and trust the levels, then you know, hey, all right, took a little put here, sitting in some drawdown, game plan still valid, right? We are still valid here. We are still under 17.8. There ain't nothing wrong with this trade. Yeah, I entered a little bit early, but I'm still under my supply. I still know rejections can come in here, so let's sit pretty, right? Let's not over-leverage ourselves to where a little move higher is going to make us panic, right? That's another major key here. If we're going to front run some shorts here and we get in too much size in this area and a little bit of upside puts us in a panic attack, right? Not okay, right? We need to get in with the idea of scaling in as we approach that supply and wait for it to eventually work out, right? So I was scaling into a position with an eventual stop loss, right? A hard stop loss up there, making sure I'm not going to hold if it gets over, and I'm going to let this thing work out. And I had extreme confidence in this trade because of the break and retest setups, because of the supply level above, and it's just something that you guys see me trade here on a daily basis. This type of trade requires patience. It requires a belief. It requires trusting your levels, and it requires proper management to not put yourself in too heavy of drawdown to where you can't let the trade work out. So guys, that's really all that I had for you in today's video. If there's one thing you take away from this video is please try to look for break and retests. Please look for them. Please try to understand the importance of supply and demand levels, looking for the trades to set up at those zones. You guys saw me today talk about how I wanted to bounce. I wanted us to push back into supply and start to create those short entries off that level. This was due to the break and retest, understanding the system, and I hope that this video gives you some more insight into learning it. Of course, if you want to see me trade this live every day, you can join the Discord community down below. We traded this entire QQQ trade 100% live, and if you guys were there, if you could be so kind to comment down below and let me know if you took advantage of it. Let me know if you enjoyed that live example of the trade today in the community. A lot of education in there, right? I was talking through this trade the entire time, keeping the members understanding of the mindset of what we were looking for. So congratulations to you guys that caught this with me. This was an awesome trade, just an awesome understanding of the market, trusting the system, and reaping the benefits of staying patient and staying in the position. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something from it. If you want to trade live with me down below, press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.